It's a great day to be a Coyote. Welcome, Coyote Nation, to another episode of Back the Pack Podcast, where we are going to be bringing you all your favorite games, memories, and, of course, discussion with our fellow Coyotes. As a disclaimer, we have no affiliation to the University of South Dakota. This is a podcast ran by fans, for fans. The ideas and comments do not represent the university. Our opinions are our own. Be sure to find us on Twitter at BackThePackSD and join the USD Coyote Fans Nation page on Facebook. Last but not least, lock in your Yote Fund membership level at www.goyotes.com. With that said, let's talk some Coyote football.
All right, you totally caught me off guard with that intro video.
Let's go.
That was sweet.
You like that? You like that?
Yeah,
I actually
totally
just made that today. Had a little free time to play around with the storm going on, so made some graphics for us, and we've got the Coyote Howl intro too. So
I think the fans are starting to realize when you're the one tweeting from the Back the Pack and when I'm the one tweeting, because I'm very. It is what it is, but you pull out all the stops, so can't ask for a better teammate on this.
we definitely have our personalities, but no, it takes a team. It's a big job and it's a team effort. But man, we got a special guest tonight. How about that? It's a great one you lined up.
This one I'm pumped about. Everybody, when it comes to the football team, there's always the behind the shadows guys, the ones that make everything tick. And Coach Rosenthal, we know that's you for USD. Welcome to the show.
I appreciate it, guys. I don't know if I'm the one that makes it tick, but I'm just another cog in the machine that helps it get moving forward for sure.
Fair enough.
Man, I want to say off camera, before we went live here, you mentioned kind of the man behind the curtain, and I can't wait to dive into this because there's so much stuff, especially in today's world of college football, and I know it's been a whirlwind last couple months for you, and so I can't wait to dive into this.
Looking forward to it for sure.
All right, perfect. And then for the folks that are joining us that don't know, Coach Rosie here is general manager and NFL liaison for USD, and a little bit of Swiss Army knife, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, Coach?
You know, it's other jobs as required, as some people would say, and you fill in the holes that need to be filled and try to make it the best program you can. So there's always something here or there, and no one's bigger than the program, and that's something for everybody here. It's not just myself. You know, it's how you make this thing move forward for sure. So, but yes, I would say that's a decent way of putting it for sure.
Were you coaching special teams or something last season, Coach Rosie? Because we see you on the sideline on game days, and you're getting hype over there. You're dapping people up. So I just got to know, like, what specifically on game days or even during the week, like, do you have a specific coaching role on top of now this new general manager position?
No, I don't have a coaching role. Like a game day, I'm able to help out with the special teams carpet, making sure that the units are correct, getting those guys out there. As you guys see, I get a little into the game.
A little.
My mouth doesn't stop too much as it gets going. And it's all obviously positive, cheering our guys on the entire time.
Heck yeah.
That's all I care about. But no, I just help out with that side of things, like last year with Coach Nielsen and now with Coach Johansson. It's wherever, again, needed fit to help make that thing move forward. So getting those units together, getting them on the field, and there's some chaotic moments, as we all know, in the game of football, and making sure you got the right 11 guys out there, or if we're making a change quick. So doing what I can. So, but no, not coaching anything at all.
Okay.
I've got my hands full with enough to do outside of that. So I'll leave it to the professionals for sure.
Well, and Mitch, you can't forget the Charles Pierre Jr. and Keandre Jones shirt too.
Hey, you gotta help support the guys. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yes.
So,
yes. Absolutely.
Playoff time, why not? It's two of the best players in the country, and I'm gonna support them. You know, I wish I had more of the t-shirts because we got a lot of really good ones on this squad, and you know, you can't do it all. Maybe next year I'll do one per quarter. Start switching up.
There you go.
That might be a little too many eyes on me, which is not about at all. So
I'd say whoever's playing the best. Whoever's playing the best gets Rosie's attention.
I like it. I like it. That's awesome.
Sure. So we'll get this thing rolling, I think, eventually here. But Coach, you haven't always been coach. You've been on the other side. Is that not, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep. So when I got done with college, I figured that I should probably go into what my major was, which is teaching. I did that for a couple of years, and it was good, but I wasn't really fulfilled. And it was my wife who really pushed me and said, "Why don't you chase what you really love and are interested in?" And so I did that and started as a graduate assistant at my alma mater, Concordia St. Paul. And from there, moved on. I was at St. Thomas. And from St. Thomas, went to Iowa State. And then from Iowa State now to here. So, little different journey because a lot of guys get done playing and they go in right away because they have that mindset that's what they want to do. I
Mhm.
did want to do it, but I was also nervous. Like I was a long snapper, so I wasn't a real position. Like I was the fourth down quarterback. You know what I mean? So not very appealing to a lot of collegiate programs. Like, hey, we have a graduate position open. Oh, you were a long snapper. Awesome. Come be a graduate assistant on offense. Uh, not the most common thing that happens, but I found a way to make it work and super,
Mhm.
super happy about that for sure. Much rather do this than teaching. And that's nothing against teaching. It wasn't for me in the end.
And then, so I want to ask, what brought you into football just as a whole?
I've always loved sports in general. Football has always been my favorite sport.
Mhm.
I had the opportunity to play at Concordia St. Paul, which was awesome. It was a great experience. And truly, it was that you hear it all the time. The things you get in the locker room, you can't recreate.
Mhm.
And I was really, really missing that. Not only from the relationship standpoint, but just the day to day, the structure of everything. And I just felt that I had an opportunity to be able to give back. I felt that I could learn it and really be able to provide a lot for everybody. And I found a way to fake it till I made it, and kept on moving forward. So that was the real piece. Is always a love for football. Didn't want to leave that.
Oh,
And
that's
originally from Bloomington, Minnesota, correct?
Yep. Yep. Bloomington, Minnesota. Correct.
So
Born
we're,
and raised.
we have a lot of Minnesota connections on this team, Jake, whether it's staff or players, and even over
Mhm.
the years too, not just recently, but in history. Um, but I have to ask too, were you also a wrestler at one point?
I was a wrestler. That I did wrestling and football all through high school. Went to Mankato, wrestled there my freshman year, and then transferred and finished playing football. And actually, the craziest part is, and you guys probably know this, but I actually played for Coach Johansson at Concordia
No.
St.
Oh,
Paul. So he's the one that recruited me when I was leaving Mankato to come and play at Concordia St. Paul. So I've been with Coach Johansson since 2008. He had a full head of hair then, and now I just, as time has moved forward, mine's gone back and his has as well. So we're doing that together, and now we're coaching together, and it's pretty awesome. So, but yeah, I was a wrestler, and I think what drew me to that the most was probably the uniform selection. I think everyone draws to wrestling for the uniform selection. Um, but but no, it was
Jeez.
that was one of the other things I guess I was involved in as well. So yes, I was a wrestler. That doesn't come up very often. So
That's awesome.
that's
All
that's a
right.
good one.
I
all
love
right.
it. So hey, Jake, real quick before we dive, because we're going to dive into the GM stuff and
Oh yeah.
all the player personnel type stuff here in a minute. But I just have to ask to get this out of the way because your other kind of title is the NFL liaison. So if you could
Mhm.
just for the audience, kind of give us just a high level overview. What does that look like as far as being our NFL liaison?
Sure. So number one, it's building relationships with all 32 teams, and within that, it's setting up for them to come and do their visits, to view practice, to find out the backgrounds on all of our players. They come in, they'll watch film, our game film that we have, and then it's going through each player and talking to them about who they are, where they come from, what their makeup is as a person and as a football player, and talking about how their growth in the program has happened. And obviously, in this world of football today, with the transfer portal, it's even more important to really dive into who the person is, right? Because a lot of
Mhm.
times, if a kid's coming in, he's got 1 year left, you can say, well, he played at XYZ school, and this is how he's going to really help us out. So you got to do a really good job of making sure they understand each person from top to bottom, and there's no pieces that are unknown for that kid because whether we want to admit it or not, like our kids at the FCS level are always going to be looked at as really, really good, but there's an FCS piece to it, right?
Hmm.
So if the guys are playing at a level up, sometimes that gets overlooked. So, like any little thing that you can solidify with these NFL teams, it helps them say, like, hey, this is a rock solid kid. So and throughout that too, it's making sure they get to pro day, setting that up with them, the times, and making sure that they have information on every young man that's going to participate in that day, and then working throughout the draft process of not actually like helping anyone pick guys, because if it was our guys, I'd make sure they all
Right.
got drafted.
Right.
But it's working with our coaches, so our position coaches can speak to the scouts and the GMs at that level, and our head coach can speak to them. So then they understand each individual from a whole, not just a 500-foot view, but 1,000-foot view of being able to see it all.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine. I know you and I talk quite often, and just how much you juggle on the recruiting, whether it's transfer portal, high school, but then NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine what your phone looks like.
Yeah, you can ask my wife. She's not very happy a lot of the times because it doesn't stop. But you know what? That's all of us. It's not just me. Like, this industry is grueling. It really, really is, and it takes a lot. You always have to be active, and you have two families. You have your mainstay family at home, and then you have your football family. And that's not just a cliche, because the amount of time that we spend with these young men is honestly a lot of times more than we do at home. So if you're going to put in that kind of time and effort, you might as well maximize it and make it really good. So being able, all those different pieces, they all ebb and flow with each other, honestly. Of course, there's times like where I want to pull my hair out and everything's going a million miles an hour, but in the end, they all work hand in hand with each other. So it's a good deal. It really is. It's fun. It's fun.
And I will say, I think it's already gotten to your hair there, Coach.
Yeah, no, it's still got a little bit left,
It's
but
still
yeah, we got a couple years left, and then it'll be baldy up top. So, but I'm gonna hold on to this thing as long as I can.
So for the fans out there, we've got obviously a Yote fan in here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
He's a hella Yote fan. Hella Yote fans, of course, his standard greeting here for us. He wasn't actually first, though. I have to throw this up real quick, Jake. We've got Ray in here, defend the missile silo. This has all come out here the last couple of days with the UC Davis podcast and calling the Dome last year a missile silo. And so we kind of took that and ran with it the last 24 hours on the internet. So thank you, Ray, for calling that out. Defend the missile silo. I might have to make some T-shirts or something. But welcome into all the fans. We've got a big group watching tonight, so appreciate all of you. And Coach, I just want to go back real quick to, like you mentioned, the transfers and guys coming in for 1 year. And Mike Reed up on the screen here for folks to see, coming from Monmouth, if I'm not mistaken. Heck of a hit with him, finding him, getting him in. He was so successful, and then now he's obviously in the league. And so, you kind of mentioned that, and I just want to know, like, what is your Rolodex of contacts? Like, how many contacts are in your phone or in some spreadsheet or what? Like, it has to be just like thousands at this point, doesn't it?
It's a lot, but again, football is a really, really small world where it's almost you're connected to one, you're connected to five. So over time, you end up meeting one person, getting close with them, and they introduce you to three more, and it's the spider web effect. It just kind of moves out. So yes, there are a lot of different contacts and people that we all utilize, right, to do reference checks and backgrounds. But the thing with Mike, and this is the greatest part about football, is that Mike knew a couple of guys on the team already because they all grew up in that Baltimore area.
Okay.
Obviously Adrian Hawkins came with Mike Reed. They were together at Monmouth, but they knew Andre Jacobs and Gary Bryan and Marcus Simmons. So when you start getting guys, no different than our Florida guys, all these kids grow up competing together now, 7-on-7 high school football. They all know each other. So the kids recruit the kids, right? We do our part as a staff, but our players are the most important part to this whole deal, because when you come here or any other school, you're spending time with the players day in, day out, right? Yep. So if they don't like their teammates or they feel they can't vibe, it's not going to be a good fit,
right.
Number one. So, but to answer your question, yes, there's a lot, and there's some you contact a couple times a year, and there's some it's every other day just to keep up with it. But at first it's a lot, but then it turns out to be, again, just something that's normal, I guess, in this chaotic world that we call football. So
unbelievable. Good stuff.
All right. So, and with this, I kind of want to bring it back to your early stages of coaching. Yeah, I mean, you've had quite a few stops. the big one that obviously sticks out is an upcoming opponent for USD in Iowa State.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Uh, so I just want to ask with that one. Obviously we know way too much about Iowa State, but what did Coach Campbell and your stint in Iowa State teach you, and what'd you bring from there to USD?
I mean, it's a lot. Like, number one, it's just consistency. Coach Campbell's incredible. He is, um, the same person every single day, and it teaches you a lot about going in, the ups and the downs. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days, but in the end of it, you got to stick to your morals and what you know is to be true. And for him, that's one of the biggest things he taught me, for sure. And that entire staff, it was a great time, and we had a lot of really good success. And it really, more than anything, it built my confidence, because I think that anyone in this industry is a liar if they come in and think that they're going to be able to handle anything right out the gate. It's just not true. You have to have people that support, no different than raising children, right? You have to have people that are positive in your ear. At the same time, are also willing to check you when you're out of line. So that was a big piece there. A number of things of being able, from my role of how to identify a player, what the really important pieces are, what are the non-negotiables. And it wasn't like it was a magic formula or something secret in the sauce there. It's just pieces that you understand that fit what you're trying to do in that program or what we're trying to do here at South Dakota, and being able to maximize that. So it's taking what that we are really good at and making sure that those pieces at square pegs fit into square holes. That was the biggest piece for sure. But got to be around a lot of pretty good high end players there, and learn like what it should look like, and then also what it shouldn't look like at times too. So it was great. It was really, really good.
And I do remember a few stories that I've heard, but you were involved in not just being around those high level players, but being part of the team that found them, if I'm not mistaken.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's kind of the weird part about going back this year. Like, part of the last class that I was a part of recruiting was, their quarterback, Rocco Beck, who was a really, really good football player.
Yeah.
The beauty is, like, the same thing with Aiden Bauman. I was a part of that, and being able to have an opportunity to have him come here, it's been pretty good for us. And it's been an awesome piece of it. And we can all the way back, Ron Adams, Tristan Michaud, like, there's a lot of different guys that you build relationships with, and Jalen Knoll, who just got drafted by the Texans. There's a laundry list of guys, obviously, and we all had a hand in it and a really big part of it, and it was awesome. I think that's the most exciting part now, is watching on Sundays. There's not like a single team you cheer for; it's individual people, right? So, and I got a bunch of them here now at South Dakota that we get to cheer for, which is awesome, and it just keeps on growing, and that's one of my favorite parts about it, without a question. You start meeting these guys and recruiting them when they're 14, 15 years old, and you watch them grow and mature and get married, and and now playing on Sundays, or even just living lives and having families. It's pretty nuts, for sure.
All right, so I
Jake,
do have to ask.
Go ahead. I'm just going to interject and just say, for Coach Rosie here, is the redemption arc, if you want to call it that, of Aiden Bauman to Karan Adams over the top for a 60 or 70 yard bomb, taking the top off against Iowa State, was going to be so sweet. And when Aiden announced he was coming back right around Christmas, I had all kinds of thoughts about this. And and then obviously it's not going to happen with Karan, leaving DeKalb, but just some of those storylines. And there's still a ton of storylines leading up to this game, which the fans are going to have a lot of fun with. But that was one of them in my mind that I was very much looking forward to.
For sure. And you know what? Like, on that note, like, guys make decisions and they feel what's best for them, and that's how it works out. But it's going to be okay. I promise you that. We got a couple cats that are pretty darn special that could do the same thing, maybe a little more. So it'll be pretty exciting. For sure.
Man, we're getting hyped. What are we, Jake? 51 days? I think we're 51 days today.
I try not to stare at the countdown because the countdown goes slower when you do.
All
so
right.
I want to continue on just one last bit on the Iowa State stuff, but how does it feel for you personally to be going back to them, especially at this time?
Yeah, it's kind of surreal in some ways. It's not like I started the program or
Hmm.
anything like that, but it's a place you spend time at. We had our second child in Ames, so there's always going to be memories that you hold there. And again, it's not about me.
Yeah.
Personally, yes, I want to go there and want us to play really, really well and come out with a win. But it's more about how the team does. It's not about my thoughts or feelings on that. But yeah, I'd be lying to say if it's not different. It will definitely be weird standing on the other sideline and getting
Yeah.
ready in the other locker room. That's something I never really saw down the line. But uh, but no, it's going to be great. That place is going to be on fire, and it's going to be really, really hot because Ames that time of the year is not cool
Mhm.
whatsoever, temperature wise. And the fans are going to be full because they fill that place up every single week. It's going to be a
Yep.
great environment for our kids, and our kids are going to be ready to come in and play a great game of football for sure. So, and I'll be right there on the sideline, ready to go, very, very calm. So I'll be good.
I tell you what, I'm in the exact same boat as you. I will say I don't think I ever saw myself walking into Jack Trice wearing a different team's logo.
That's
But
right, because you're an Iowa State guy. You know,
I was
and,
born in Ames even.
Yep.
and to think about, COVID robbed us of kind of what would have been the first matchup here in recent history, Jake. I think it was, 2020 maybe,
Yep.
if I somewhere in there, 2019, 2020.
Yep.
And then obviously it's scheduled again for, I think, 2030,
30.
if I
Yep.
remember right. So yeah, so this is awesome because I know we've had it circled for a while, and like I said, got robbed. So to have the opportunity again is a good feeling.
No, it'll
Oh
be
yeah.
great. I think these games are great too because it gives our kids an opportunity to show what they can do. You know what I mean? Not that
Exactly.
everyone that's at this level knows that the Missouri Valley is the real deal. I don't think we really need to go through and show the stats or talk about them. It's every week's a battle, and our kids are built and ready to play at that level. And I feel like our teams have shown that, and we'll be ready to go when we go down to Ames.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, you guys get the spotlight, and they're gonna enjoy the heck out of that being on Fox 2:30 kick. One thing I want to touch on with that too, just for everybody listening, following along, Iowa State single game tickets do go on sale on July 16th at 10 a.m. If you didn't get in at the USD one, I know they're releasing those here soon, so be prepared. Like Coach Rosie said, they sell the place out quickly. I think it will be one that sells out quickly, so make sure you're ready for that because you're gonna have to fight me for one of those front row spots.
Yeah, and we're expecting a pretty decent showing, right? It's not that far away. Obviously, all the storylines going into this game, Coyote Nation continues to grow and show out, and the team success and everything's just breeding more and more fans to come out. So I think we're going to have a really good showing there.
All right, let's flip it. That's enough on a different team. Oh, we do have a question from Yote fan here. So it looks like, Coach, what is your take on them having a game in Ireland before losing to us?
I'll take it. It's they got a tough schedule to start. We got a tough schedule to start. Granted,
Mhm.
we don't have to go to Ireland before. I don't want to deal with that jet lag at all. But
That's an interesting one.
yeah, and it's a conference game for them too, playing Kansas State.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, Farmageddon.
I'm happy with it. But at the same time, whether they were or weren't going there, we still got to come in and play a really good game. So,
Yep.
but I'm happy we're not going to Ireland. I'll just put it that way. So.
Great
Yes.
question, Yote fan. Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, rock and a hard place for them. We can talk on that later on in the schedule talk, but going to having Kansas State and Ireland, one rival, and then Iowa following up. It's easy to overlook us, that's for sure.
Yep. We'll leave it at that. All right,
So yeah,
let's change gears, Jake. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's jump into some of the GM specific stuff because it has been an absolute whirlwind since the season got over. Coach Rosie, I mean, the season ends. The transfer portal was even going on during the playoffs, or towards the end of the season and into the playoffs, however that timing was. But I want to jump to transfers and even high school commits. I don't want to go through all the names, but just kind of high level. I mean, holy crap, we had a hard time keeping up with this as fans. I don't know. I guess just kind of describe like what that was like in that 2 to 3 month window there in the from kind of the season ending to through spring ball.
Sure. I mean, it started with a deep breath, for sure,
Mm.
and then the truth is there was a lot of craziness going on, and that's the world of college football. But Coach Johansson said it right away. Like the guys in this room are going to be the ones that we're going to win with, and the ones we're going to build on, and that's 100% true. If you feel that you need to make a move, then you got to make a move, and that's what's best for you, your family, and your future. Understand, wish you the best. It's not easy, especially with almost all of these guys that chose to leave. We had recruit out of high school and brought them in and developed and had a great time with them. But they've moved on, and so have we, and we're able to make sure that we're going to put the best roster we can forward. So, going into this year, I know Coach Johansson's talked about it a couple of times. We had been talking about how this is going to be a real thing. Uh, with all the different changes that were happening and preparing properly for what this is going to look like. Number one, it meant that we're going to have a smaller high school class, right? Because there's going to be so many transfers that we're going to be able to bring in, and not just transfers to bring in, but transfers that are young and have years, right? There's a lot of these guys in the 27 listed below that have 3+ years of eligibility.
Yep.
And so it's
We
the
we
equivalent of
noticed that it wasn't a bunch of one and done guys. It was kind of a
no.
mix.
And that's something that we're always going to be very cautious of, right? Because you get into the one and done world, it's really dangerous. It's just a coin flip because you may know the young man, you may not. How is it going to fit in? He has to learn the system. He has to learn the culture. He's got to learn what Vermilion is. There's a lot that goes into it, right? So
Yeah.
it's really about the balance of mixing and matching everything. And our staff did a great job. It's definitely not just me by any stretch of the imagination. It starts with Coach Johansson, works through myself, Coach Morrison, Coach Kirch, and all the position coaches underneath all play a huge role in being able to make sure that we're going after the right person. Because for us, the biggest thing is who you are as a human. You win with people. You don't win with talent all the time. If you go the talent route all the time, you're going to get really, really good results, but you're going to get burned a lot, and it's going to
Mhm.
hurt you. So if you get a really, really good person that's dedicated, hardworking, and the mindset is of what a winner is, you're going to be able to do a lot of really good things because they're going to buy in to what our goals are as a team and what our goals are as a program and a university. That's on and off the field, academically and athletically. Because as we all know, being a college athlete, you got to do both. And you also have to mix in that thing called a social life on top of it. So those
Yes.
three pieces of the pie are really, really important. And the thing is with all of our guys, there's not a single one of them that I would say, I kind of question his character because we had a number of kids come and visit. And if any of our players who were hosting or any of our staff felt a little uneasy, we had to move forward as hard as it may have been with some of the talent that some of these guys had. You have to make sure that you're sticking with what the most important thing is, and that's who you are as a young man. Because if
Mhm.
you're going to be able to function and be successful, you have to be able to buy in. That was the biggest part. So from that, going through and being able to identify different areas that we can make sure that we're going to bolster and create competition, because that's the other part of this. Every single room we have, there's high competition. There's nobody who can walk in here and say that I can just do a half effort job and I'm going to be the starter,
Right.
right? Because there are two or three guys behind every single person that are fighting for that spot. Because at the end of the day, when you get to the collegiate level, especially the Division 1 level, it is a business.
Mhm.
And the business part of it is if you don't succeed and you don't improve every day, there's someone else that's doing that and they're going to surpass you. So your level of standard has to be really, really high. And all of these guys that we were able to bring in, um, just absolutely thrilled. It's a number I never thought that um, we would be doing. I don't think anyone on our staff ever thought like this time of college football would be real,
Right. Right.
um,
Yep.
but it has. And truly, like the other people, like all of our families, like the amount of time that we had to spend and in visits and recruiting and finding these guys, like our families, it's a big hats off and kudos to them because they sacrificed a ton for this to
Mhm.
be able to happen. Um, and that's stuff that never gets talked about. I just had to make sure I said that because it's a lot.
It
It's a ton.
is.
Yeah. It
It's
is.
a ton.
So Did Johansson do anything to thank the spouses for having you guys away from home for so much?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he always does. He always does. So he does a great job with that, making sure that we're all covered and little meals and thank yous and all that. So I mean, that's part of the thing here is, with the change in head coach, it wasn't a change for any of us, right?
Right.
We
Right.
all are very, very close. We can do things out of the office. We don't have to do things out of the office, but we all are on the same page. We all get along really well, and it's really fun coming in. So that's the other benefit of this is that change wasn't. Yes, it's two different people, but it was a really, really big positive at the same time. It was awesome. So
All right. And you mentioned college football is a business. And with obviously John Schemmel's decision to bring USD in, opting into the House settlement, it just got so much more like a business in every facet. Now, how has that been affecting you guys, and how are you guys feeling about that?
feel great. It's something that we knew that we were going to be stepping forward towards. Super excited about it. It's an opportunity to be able to make sure our kids are comfortable without a question. And it's a work in progress because there's always pieces that are changing with it. But now we have the opportunity to make sure combining, with opting in and rev share and NIL and making sure that our guys can go through college and be comfortable, be able to go out and get a meal, and live comfortably and have different things that they need. And it's where college football is going. So it's definitely a change, but it's one that we have been ready for and we have been attacking and really, really excited for where it's going to go for us. There's no doubt.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Jake, and since you brought that up, I just want to mention for the fans that the Pride of the Western Plain, it sounds like that's kind of being phased out, and that's that third-party NIL processing company that we've partnered with when NIL kind of first rolled out at USD. But John Schemmel, we had him on here recently, and he's kind of directing people to the Yote Fund. So if you want to help out, there's that way to do it, and securing your membership at whatever level that you're able to, dollar amount wise. That's huge because that pot, as that pot grows and you've got the revenue from football ticket sales and that kind of thing, there's going to be multiple pots, but they can shift money around now a little bit with the under the rev share rules. And so it seems like we're kind of going to that one-stop shop with the Yote Fund. So just encourage fans, if you haven't already, to go ahead and lock that in if you haven't, or join at whatever level you're able. So one last plug for the Yote Fund.
Well, and I'll add to that too. Schemmel did not say kind of get away from it. He said cut all feeds into it.
Yeah.
So if you are on the monthly plan, I know there was on there, make sure you're switching over to the Yote Fund instead.
Yep.
It'll be so much bigger of an impact for not just football, but all sports included.
Yeah, and for the fans' perspective, there's obviously the point system that's going to get you benefits, and then there's also the tax write-off part too. So there is some benefits for that as fans. So yeah, I definitely encourage everybody to do that.
Oh yeah, that part got us a lot better. Tax write-off. Now my money's not just going to see a better show on the field, right?
There you go. There you go. 2 for 1.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Coach Rosie, I want to ask kind of 2 follow-ups just on this general GM job here. So, you're obviously overlooking all the personnel, and who has the final say when it comes to, hey, do we offer this kid or not, whether it's a transfer, high school, recruit or whatever, but who has the ultimate final say, or a team decision between you and coaches?
Yeah, in the end, ultimately, it's Coach Johansson, right? As the head coach, you have the final say over all that happens with the program, and he's going to yay or nay a young man if he's going to be coming in this program. But we have a process that we run through from identifying the young man to the position coach, giving him the thumbs up, the coordinator, then the entire side of the ball, offense or defensive side of the ball, will agree on that. And then it moves on to myself and Coach Johansson. We'll watch together, have conversations, and if we see something differently, maybe the offense or defensive staff doesn't see a kid as high, we may push a little further, right? Or the other way of pulling the reins back and saying, hey, let's check this out to make sure this is exactly what we want. So, in the end, Coach Johansson has the final say on what happens with everything that goes on. But it's a group effort for sure. Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm just thinking, like obviously I've never been in that world specifically, but like from a business standpoint, you got guys in a boardroom or some sort of meeting room, and like, is there ever times where somebody's just pounding their fist on the table for somebody, and maybe Coach Johansson, for example, is not like he's not willing to go there, but like maybe you're pounding your fist on the table, like just trying to sell it to get him to say yes.
100% healthy conversation is something we encourage. Like, and that's real though. Like everywhere I've ever been, there's always going to be someone who feels very strongly. For those that know me, I'm semi opinionated, so I will voice my opinion very loudly. But at the same time, no, my voice is not bigger or louder than anybody else's. There are position coaches, coordinators that feel very strongly. Coach Johansson, myself, whoever it may be. Yes, it happens all the time. And that's the beauty of it. It has to happen because if all of us are just a bunch of yes men, it's going to be really, really bad in the long run, right? You have to be able to state your reason. And at the same time, you got to be able to swallow your pride too, because all of us are professionals. All of us have been doing this for a long time, and we all understand that different positions and players have high ends and low ends and how it fits in. So you have to be able to look at like if a group really does strongly feel this way about a young man, there's got to be something correct, and you got to be able to put on a bit different lens and look at that in a different way. And that's I think that's a big piece about being successful is not being too prideful.
Mhm.
In how you feel. And I get caught in it all the time. I'm probably at fault of it as much as anybody, right? There's certain guys I fall in love with and I think they're going to be great, and in my time I've hit on guys and I've missed on guys.
Mhm.
That's everybody.
Right.
And Coach Johansson would talk about the same thing. Coach Vitz, Coach Finney, like all these guys have these different stories of guys that they were right on and guys that were wrong on. And the reality is you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. So you got to figure it out. And doing that collectively is the only way, in my opinion, to get it done. And I think we
Yeah.
do a really, really good job. And I'm not afraid to say I think we do it better than most. And I think it's
Oh
been
yeah.
proven that way.
Well, and that's kind of where I was getting at with the business side of it was like there's only so much money, there's only so many scholarships, right? There's only so many roster spots. And I know, obviously that's changing now with the house settlement a little bit and with the whole grandfathering in. And I was just thinking about this transfer list and how you keep all this straight. I don't know if you have a giant depth chart with all the list of names or whatever, but I was just thinking, we lost what 20-ish seniors. You had 9 transfer out. You bring in 27 transfers, and then you had a couple. If I flip to the next screen here, a couple late commits to the class of 2025 that didn't commit at that traditional window, but kind of later on in the more of the spring or after Christmas window there, and including that Kaysen Tomey, who's from Minnesota
Yes,
with
Manorville.
yeah, with obviously family connection there to USD, but I was just thinking about that and like, how do you put that puzzle together and then not knowing kind of where you were going to be for roster spots, and then learning that, oh, by the way, there's going to be some folks that are grandfathered in if you go above the 105, and it
Right.
seemed like you guys went pretty fast and furious there, and to me, at least from the outside, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it seemed like you were just kind of going it didn't really matter. I guess you were just looking for quality guys that you didn't maybe have a number in mind, and you didn't mind if you were going to be above the 105.
No, I wouldn't say that at all. That it didn't matter. Like everything we did was meticulous and had a purpose. Like going into it, we knew exactly, especially in the transfer world, how many spots we had at each position, and that's part of it. And
Okay, so
you kind of mentioned
you did have a number in mind.
100%. You have to.
Okay, okay,
You
okay.
can't. I mean, and it's not being coy with it. You can't just throw it against the wall and see what sticks, right?
I got you.
So, I have a depth chart that go through, and it's each position and how many we feel that we've talked about as a staff that we need to have in that room, and how many need to be on scholarship, and being able to go through and look at projections of okay, this guy might go to the NFL early, or he might graduate early and isn't going to come back and use his last year of eligibility. This young man has, been rumored he might transfer. So you have to prepare for that. And there is some if then that's situations that do come up. Um, but in the end of it, you have to make sure that uh, you are prepared, because if we would have gone into this off season of just kind of being like, all right, free for all, like Oprah Winfrey, you got a scholarship, it would have been nuts. It would
Yeah.
have been crazy. So it was really important for us to make sure that we did a really, really good job of understanding how are we going to strengthen this team, number one. And number two, how are we going to create competition at each position? And
Mhm.
that's what we did. If you go back to that previous slide, there's a lot of guys on there that are going to be on the field for us and playing a lot. And that's not even talking about the guys that are still here that are going to play a ton too. So it's a really big combination of being able to fit both pieces in with it, and knowing and understanding what guys are getting grandfathered in. That plays a role too. There's no question about it. So.
So the reason I bring that up is kind of around that 105 number is
Mhm.
kind of what I was getting at. But like, are we? I guess I haven't looked to see if the website's updated yet with the full roster with the new guys in there too. But are we right around that 105 or are we higher, lower? Where are we at?
Yeah, we're high. We're at 114.
Okay,
So
that's kind of where because it seemed I didn't have the count, I didn't have the updated list other than what I'm seeing, come across the timeline
sure.
and putting together my own list here for us guys. But I was kind of estimating that we were going to be above that 105 number, and the reason I asked is because there was a point where we didn't know, or you guys didn't know if 105 was going to be the hard limit or not, depending on
Right.
the settlement and if we opted in, opted out, all those moving pieces, kind of just solidified here a couple weeks ago.
Correct. It's a moving target, right? Things are
Yeah,
changing
yeah,
constantly,
and
and
that's what I just want to know how you like even plan. How do you plan when every day the target could be different?
you have to have multiple options, right? You can't just stick with one plan and go with it. You have to be fluid. It's kind of like life. It's like raising kids. You think you're going to do it one way, and they're going to tell you how you're going to do it. Whether you think you're going to tell your children how you're going to treat them, like how they're going to grow up, like you're going to have to figure it out. There's no manual. There's no book to how to do it. It's experience, and it's being able to again see projections and have a staff that's close enough and tight knit enough to be able to trust that this is what we're going to do. At the same time, we could be saying, hey, we're going from point A to point B. That's our goal. Okay. But then all of a sudden, as we're halfway to point B, hey, we got to divert and go to C right now because this
Right.
is what's changing. And that's part of the loveliness of college athletics is it always is changing. So,
Man.
but no, that was the exciting part. Like, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't thrilled about this group. It is really, really special. Um, I mean, I'm just going to tell you, there's going to be 10 names on here that they're going to be household names
Yep.
without a question,
Oh, we
right
love it,
away,
and
right
I
away. And
think
a lot
Jake
of
and
guys,
our sentiment, coach, was the same thing. Like looking at some of these names and seeing where they come from and seeing some of their highlights and stuff, we were pretty excited and pleasantly surprised, even in some cases, with some of the guys that we were able to bring to Vermilion. So, Jake, anything else on the transfers
who are
before
you
we can?
surprised that we were able to bring to the Harvard of the Plains that is Vermilion, South Dakota?
Well, I'm not going to give specific names because I don't want to put guys in boxes, but like it just in general, recruiting to Vermilion can't be easy. It's such a unique place. It's one of the smallest college towns in D1 and in FCS football, and so it I guess from my perspective, and I grew up around here, so it's no big deal for me. But some of these guys, you look at where they come from, and when they get to Vermilion, and they see the campus and the dome for the first time, and I know we have nice facilities, so that sells itself. But like, I wonder how hard it is to actually sell Vermilion to some of these guys.
It's not me just giving a pitch here, a car salesman pitch. It's not though, because as I was kind of referring to earlier in our talk, all of these guys are the same in the fact of what their goals are. None of these kids and none of the young men that we recruit are worried about going out big city because if that's what you're into, we're not it. And
Right.
we tell every family, every recruit right out the gate, if that's what you're looking for, you want a downtown metroplex, this isn't going to be it. I promise
Mhm.
you that. And
Right.
that's not what we're going for. If you want to go out, you want to do all this all the time, no, you got to sacrifice. And the only way that we're going to be one of the best teams and go win a national championship is if you're going to be focused. And that's the beautiful part about Vermilion is there aren't those outside distractions. The state of South Dakota has no professional organizations, right?
Right. Right.
Athletically. So you are the main attraction. You are what everyone wants to come and see. And
Yep.
kids love that. And yes, facilities are one thing, and we are very blessed that our donors do an excellent job to make sure that our kids are supplied with the best of the best, top to bottom. But at the same time, this community is really, really safe. So, from a parent's perspective, there's nothing they have to worry about. Our
Yep.
kids can go walk over to the grocery store. They can walk over the dome. They could, park their car if it's unlocked by accident, they're going to be
Yeah, no,
okay. This is a
yeah.
really good
Nobody
year.
locks their car or their garage doors or anything.
Right, because you don't have to worry about that. That goes a
Right.
long way. On top of, you're going to get a really really good education. Like that's just the
Mhm.
reality of it,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you
Absolutely.
get the best of everything. So now you're including one of the best football teams in the country. You're going to have great facilities. You're going to have excellent academics, and on top of that, you're going to have a tight knit group of people that care because that's the most important part. We don't get kids to say yes, I want to come play for the University of South Dakota because we're going to have 100,000 people stadium, right? It's not
Mhm.
that. It's because of the people. It's because of the relationships and the build that we can make with them and develop them to get to the NFL. Because at the end of the day, none of these kids are playing because they just enjoy to put the pads on and give it the good college effort, right? They want to
Right.
go play on Sundays, and that's what we do. We develop you into being able to do that. And again, that's through love, care, but also hard truths at the same time. Our kids are held accountable on a different level. And if you ask them candidly, they'll tell you, man, some of these coaches are getting on me a little too much. Like, no, it's because they know that they care. We're also the same ones they can come up and talk to when they got something going on. Our doors are always open. We don't have scheduled times. You come up and see. You want to go see Coach Johansson? His door is always open. You want to stop down and see Coach Morrison? His door is always open. If you need to talk to someone, even if they're in a staff meeting, just come in and get us, right?
Mhm.
If it's
Yeah.
because you left your book bag at home, you don't know how to get it, that's your problem. But if it's something serious, we're going to take care of it and make sure you're right. And that's the one thing that we've been able to do here. And all these kids, you look at where they come from, like not even just collegiately of where they transferred from, but
Mhm.
where their home is,
Yeah.
they're all the same mindset. They're all the same mindset. And
Yep.
that's again goes back to who they are as a person. And that's where it starts.
So you guys go ahead and talk, but I'm just going to throw up the class of 2026 because I want to finish this conversation with, on top of all the craziness with the NFL draft, with the transfer portal, you also had late commits, which we just looked at, and then you've got the class of 2026, which you were simultaneously kind of working on and starting to get some verbal commits there, and a heck of a list already in terms of just numbers, in terms of number of young guys coming in.
Yeah, it's a really exciting group, and all these guys we've been on for a long time.
Mhm.
They've all been on junior days, game day visits. We've had them at camp. It's been a long process of really growing that relationship, and this was the final stretch of the craziness that was recruiting for 3 months, right?
Right.
And really really proud of our staff because they did an awesome job. They did a phenomenal job. Number one of identifying who these guys are and making sure that we're going after the right ones and the right families. And yeah, I'm so excited about this class. It is, and it's not done yet.
Mhm.
So for a start, it's about as good as we can get right now. It's
I,
awesome. We got a lot of size and athleticism coming in. It's going to be a lot of names that everyone's going to be very familiar with for sure.
I'm so pumped. I've had a chance to watch the film on a lot of these guys, and I think I'll be first to say I don't know how to judge O line, but when their guy is on their back every time, I think you found some good dudes.
It's
But
simple. As close to 300 pounds as possible, Jake. And 6'4", 6'5", 6'7". That's all.
Yeah,
That's what you need.
and
And
I,
all those guys are super athletic,
Mhm.
super violent. And actually, I think we're missing one. Yeah, Caleb Offner is another
Oh,
one.
yep.
all right,
So he's a fourth O lineman, and Caleb's 6'6", 300. So he's a big boy, to say
that's
the
awesome.
least. But yeah, the RO line class coming in is great. I mean, it is super exciting, and two guys from Wichita Northwest.
Oh, yeah.
LJ Phillips is from there. And there's another guy I was a part of named Brees Hall that was from there. That one's for Coach Nelson. He always
Yeah,
gives me a
just
hard
just
time
Brees
about
Hall,
that.
no big deal.
But that high school, Coach Martin in Wichita Northwest he's the real deal.
Oh, yeah.
Those kids come out and they are ready mentally more than anything else, and that's the hardest step for these high school kids because they go from being the man, whether it's all conference, all state, whatever it may be, and now you're in a program. Everyone was that, right? And now you have collegiate All Americans and collegiate All Conference players, 3 year stars, 4 year stars, grown men. So the mental aspect of it is really, really big, especially offensive line, because coming in, it's tough. You go from like you talked about, Jake, where you're putting guys on their back almost every single play, and it's not that easy once you get to the collegiate level. You're trying to move around guys that are 6'3", 310 pounds
Right.
and violent. It's much harder. So that group's great. I mean, it's super, super exciting with them. The quarterback, Patrick Grayson, his dad and his uncle, NFL quarterbacks.
Yep.
The kid's a rock star without question. Both of our running backs, with Courtney Rivers being an absolute, lightning in a bottle. He can do everything that's down at CBC. Johanna Bubakar is one of the best young men at that age to be that mature. Um, it's special. You guys have a chance to talk with him, and that kid is awesome. And for his size, the way he can move and finish, he's special for sure. Brooks Hall, dad's head coach, awesome kid. DJ Howard, absolute freak down Lakeland Christian, can fly, plays both sides of the ball. Keaton Menon from Van Meter, that is a big,
Big dude.
human. And
Yes.
Highland, he is going to be a force in the middle for us. Joe Hardy, really, really good hybrid player, can play linebacker, play edge, violent from Sergeant.
Yeah,
Bluff.
so we put a star on him because we didn't think he would probably end up at linebacker, and he's local talent. I'm over by Sioux City, so he's kind of local to me. But we didn't think
sure.
he would play. We thought he'd fit that hybrid kind of Marquise Grace kind of role.
Yeah, well, the beauty is we were going to be able to test it out and see what fits best for him, and he's going to be able to do all the
Absolutely.
jobs for sure.
Absolutely.
And then going down, Mason Klaus from Keokuk, like that kid's an absolute stud, plays the game the right way. Max Clark, super, super athletic, huge ceiling with him. Zion Roberson, that kid is special, huge family lineage. He's got seven relatives that are NFL alum, three of them that are still in the NFL right now. J. Mike at corner is a unit. He's going to be phenomenal. Mason Wydra from IMG is physical, fast playing safety, really, really good. And the best part is, again, all these young men raised correctly, been doing the right thing, great in school, and are dedicated. That's the best part about it.
And you bring up IMG Academy for Mason there, and I want to ask: did you ever get a chance to travel down and do a school visit with him?
I've been there before. Yes.
How impressive is it? Is it as insane as what we've seen on TV? And
yeah, it's pretty wild. It's unique. I'll put it that way. But then again, a lot of the kids that go there pay for it. You go online, you look what the price tag is for those that aren't. How do they put it here? Assisted.
Right.
To go there. They don't give it away at all. So, but it's a different.
Is it tough to get in there besides the price? Like, is there? Is it?
There's high academic standards, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Always,
I thought maybe.
There's always exceptions to the rule too, right? They gotta be able to make it for everybody. But no, it's a really cool spot for sure. But it's really unique because like you live on campus, kids can't leave until they're older, and like then they get passes to go off campus. Like it's a very different situation than people would really assume it to be. But for high school, yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty wild.
Crazy.
That's awesome.
I want to put this up. We don't have to talk about this much, but just amongst all the whirlwind of player and personnel changes, you also had all the coaching changes. And it wasn't just a couple. Like we're talking, what is it, 8 or 9, 10, whatever it was here between promotions and new guys coming in, and that had to be, and that was happening kind of in pieces during all of this. So you talked about like meeting with coordinators and play, position coaches and stuff as you're trying to find guys. Like you also had guys that were just coaches that were missing because they're working on trying to fill spots too amongst all of this.
Sure. And that's part of it too. That is the world we live in college athletics, and we're not the only program in the country that faces this. We could go down the list of saying the schools that have had to deal with coaching, but that's part of it, right? Like all the staff that left had all had an opportunity that they felt was best for them. And every single one of them, we support and wish them the best. And you're able to improve and move forward from that point on. And, a lot of the changes, though, were already internal. Like everyone knows Coach Johansson. Now he's the head coach. Everyone's ready for that. Coach Morrison going to the offensive coordinator spot is not a shock for anyone in this building at all. He's been an offensive coordinator before, does a phenomenal job without question. Coach Vitzum was a former quarterback himself and does an awesome job. You guys who were at the game and anyone else saw like during the game, Coach Davis was up in the box and Coach Vitz was the one who was working with Aiden all those games on the
Right.
sideline.
Right.
So there's not a huge change there. Coach Kirch, I know you said we didn't have to go through them, but I'm already
You
rattling down
can.
the
You
list.
can. By all means, go ahead.
It is what it is at this point, right? Coach Kirch and Coach Johansson have known each other. They're high school teammates, so they've known each other for a long time. We knew exactly what we were getting with Coach Kirch. So again, wasn't off tilt there at all. And Coach Marcari and Coach Walker, again, connections with all of us, knowing different staffs that they've been on and who they know and where they've been. Phenomenal young coaches. Coach Nelson staying. Obviously, this is year 2 for him, and he's an absolute stud. Does a great job with our D line. Um, and then Will Finley again. Coach Johansson knew when he was at his previous school. They knew each other there, and Coach Finley's done a phenomenal job coming in. It's been quick for him too to have to come in, right? Like he was a later
Right.
addition,
Yep.
but he's done an awesome job. It's going to be great for our program. Eric Finney's an absolute stud. Again, connected with a lot of our on staff coming from Cincinnati, who the defensive coordinators Tyson Veit, who I worked with at Iowa State. So knowing that, and Coach Johansson had a connection when Coach Finney was at Iowa Western. And everyone knows Manchagaya. Coach Manchagaya was a player here, was a GA here, had an opportunity to go to Iowa, and now came back. So it's new faces and different titles, but it's a lot of familiar faces for us too. So it's
Yep.
not a whole lot of new for us at all. From the outside looking in, it looks kind of wild and crazy, but for us, it's really, really not. And that's not just trying to, button that up. It just isn't.
I'm
So
not gonna lie. From the outside looking in, from a general fan's perspective, it looks like you had a 1,000-piece puzzle, and somebody just shook the box and then dumped 1,000 pieces all over the table, and now you guys got to put it all back together.
as is life, though, right?
That's right.
Mhm.
So
That's right.
keep it moving. But
No, I
it's-
think Jake, and you can let me know your thoughts on this, but like just overall big picture after we got through all these players and coaches and the changes, I think, Coach, since you've been here since 2022, the injection of talent and the classes just keep getting better and better, and now you factor in the transfer portal, which you mentioned you don't always hit on all of them, but you've hit on a lot recently, and so looking at the size of the 27 coming in, I think from a fan's perspective, we're pretty darn confident with the kind of player that you've brought in, and we can't wait to see this because there's a lot of openings position wise. Start with starting offense, starting defense. There's a lot of kind of positions up for grabs, and so to see how this is all going to be put together by the coaches and what players maybe are going to kind of nab those starting roles because there are some, like I mentioned, up for grabs, especially on defense.
for sure. And that's the thing. Competition breeds success. And, again, that's all of us that have made these decisions on these young men. And that's the beauty of it is all of us have done a phenomenal job. And it's not trying to gloat or promote any of that, but it's just a reality. We work really, really hard at finding, okay, if this young man if there's 3 buckets to fill, we know that he can fill 2 of them. Those 2 buckets that are filled are going to help us win games. We know that. Sometimes it may not be pretty or sexy, but it's going to get the job done. It's going to be really, really good. Or maybe it's going to be in time, right? And
Yep.
that's what you have to do. And the competition at each position is the biggest piece about it. That is the biggest piece about it, is making sure that we are always going to be deep. Depth is as important as it gets. And, these long playoffs run with us,
Yes.
the end goal is to win the national championship. And the only way you can do that is by having great depth, because nobody in the country goes through the season without injury or nicks and bumps and bruises. That's part of it. So
especially the Missouri Valley, right? We know
100%.
not all conferences are created equal, and so the Valley's a gauntlet, and just to come out alive at the end of the season is one thing, and then to turn around and try to make that deep playoff push for that national championship. I mean, like you said, you got to have depth, and so I'm just really excited and curious to see how this thing shakes out as we start the 2025-26 season.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. And I think the beautiful part about our conference is that it does prepare you for that playoff run, right? Because like we talked about earlier, every week is a challenge. you can't walk into a week thinking that you're just going to be able to coast. Because the minute you do that, you're going to get surprised. You're going to get beat up because there's not a single team in this conference that is bad. Everybody is coming ready to play, and everybody's going to have 11 guys on each side of the ball that are really, really talented. And that's the beauty of it. So when it comes to playoff time, you talk about close games, you talk about crunch time situations, you talk about making the big play. In this league, you have to make it to win. So when you get to the playoffs, our guys are ready to do that and continue to do that.
Yep.
Yeah, and Jake, I want your opinion on this. Do you think the Valley, Coach? You don't have to answer this since you're in the middle of it, but and you don't have to give anybody any social media clips for this. But I'm just going to say, I think the Valley is going to be better this year. I think there's going to be maybe a little more parity in the Valley, but overall, I think the Valley is also going to be maybe better overall than last year.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have a lot of teams coming up from behind that we haven't seen up there. I think the top teams stay where they have been these last
Right.
couple of years. But it really is interesting because you take a look at the FCS as a whole, it does feel like there was a shift. And so I think
Well, I mean, and so many teams were pillaged, right, with the portal,
Exactly.
and so that, and yeah, so
yeah, we're no different than anybody else out there. But I think the top teams will still stay at the top. But do we have two blowout goose eggs on the board? It's going to be tough to stay this year.
right. All right, what else you got for Coach? We're at the hour mark here.
Yeah, I knew this one was going to be a lot of fun. I think this is going to probably be the most entertaining one we had. I will say the only question I got for you, Coach, is just how you feeling going into the season.
I feel really confident. I feel really good. I'm not going to give a prediction on what it's going to be at all. All I know is that our staff and our players are going to be ready to go, and we're going to be able to give the fans what they want, which is going to be a team that's going to come out there and fight and play really, really hard every single week. That's the best thing you can hope for. And the game of football is really unique because if you knew what was going to happen, how it was going to happen, we'd all probably be doing different things in life, right? So, but I'm really excited for this team, and we'll see how it all plays out in the end. But this is a good group for sure.
I'll say this, Jake, based on Coach's comments here about not wanting to give a prediction, but I will say this: we're undefeated on the new turf. Since that was put in, we've not lost a home game, and so, Coach, this is my charge to the team. Go win enough games so that we can host throughout the playoffs, have home field advantage all the way to Nashville, and the rest will take care of itself.
Hey, I don't think there would be a person in Vermilion that would be upset about that. So we just got to take it 1 week at a time. I know that's cliche,
right.
but it's the truth. And we'll see where the chips fall when it's all said and done. And regardless, we're going to be ready to go.
Perfect. Well, it's not too far away, so all I'll say, coaches, we'll see you in Ames.
Sounds
That's
good,
right.
guys. Can't wait.
Hey, out the door, favorite place to eat in Vermilion? We always ask that to our guests, so you got to give us something.
Favorite place? I mean, with all the options, I mean, where do you want to start there? I mean, you got a lot of different options when it comes to that. You got the walleye at Bunyan's. Can't miss on that. You got OLC wings. Favorite place in town? I'm going to be different. Like, I'm a little goofy. I'm going to say Cafe Brulee is my favorite one.
All right. No,
breakfast at Cafe Brulee is my jam. So that's my favorite. They got really good dinner too.
They do. Do they do breakfast all day there?
No, they switch over in the afternoon.
Okay, they do switch over. Okay.
But that breakfast is a hitter for sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
All right, perfect. Well, I think I'm confident enough to say that I can speak for everybody here, Coach, but we're ready for the season to start. We're looking forward to seeing what you guys bring to the table, and we know we can expect big things from you guys.
I appreciate it. Really appreciate you having me on, and ready to go with this season starting here real soon.
Hey, thanks for your time, Coach, and like always, go Yotes.
Go Yotes. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Appreciate it.